This is a Komatsu D455A Bulldozer. It's made in 1/50th scale by Diapet. Now this is an interesting model. First off, it is old. I mean, like, probably 25 years old, if not maybe a little bit more. And it's got a lot of features to it that you really didn't see on a lot of diecast for probably 15 years after this was made, maybe even 20 years. So it's just interesting. The first thing that really stands out though is the motor. It's got the silver or chrome or whatever you want to call it motor that not sure why it is, but it is. And it doesn't look bad. Like the air cleaners are there, the muffler, the block and everything. It's pretty well replicated, but I just don't know why it's silver. If it wasn't silver, this thing would be pretty awesome. But it is kind of what it is, and to be honest, I think at the time this was Komatsu's biggest bulldozer that they made, so it having the big flashy motor, it kind of made sense, especially if you're Komatsu and you want your bulldozer to look super big and powerful and you want to draw the eye to how big and beefy the motor is. That's a pretty good way to do it. I say this model is interesting because it has a lot of features to it that for the time that this was made, you probably didn't see these kind of things for another 15 years, maybe even 20 years. And it's just interesting. Like the metal tracks for one, like having metal tracks on a diecast model was pretty big. I mean, that was fairly unheard of at the time. So that's really kind of a big deal for this thing. Another thing is to have the hydraulic hoses there on the ripper. They're not on the blade. The hard lines are there, but there's no rubber to it, not like there is on the ripper. So that's kind of interesting. Another thing that's kind of cool too is it does have the carry rollers on the undercarriage, which is pretty neat. Really, that's one of those minor things that you wouldn't expect to see, but this does have it. Now there is a pretty fair usage of plastic on the model. The ROPS is metal, but the cab is plastic. The hydraulic tank is plastic, and that's a really big hydraulic tank. Fuel tank's plastic, all that. But it's really not that bad. The color matches up fairly well, and it really looks pretty good. The casting is really well done too. It's got a lot of finer detail to it. One of the really cool things is if you look at the radiator, I'll try to get a decent picture of that there. It won't quite sharpen up, but you can see the radiator fins in there behind the screens, and it's got the screens there too. That's really cool. Like this model is really so far ahead of its time. It's kind of unbelievable. It's just really nice. Now, is it going to stick out in the collection? Yeah. The motor's probably going to make it stick out a little bit. But for being an older dozer, it's really pretty nice. It's definitely a relic of another time, I think. It wouldn't surprise me if, again, like Komatsu, this being their biggest dozer, they probably wanted to go out of their way to make it really stand out on the shelf, you know, with the metal tracks and everything. The nice beefy ripper on it. It really, it all together, it makes for a pretty nice package. And like I said, for being an older dozer, it's pretty nice. It looks good on the shelf, and it's certainly an interesting piece to have. Anyway, that's about it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. If you have anything you'd like to see, comment on that too, because I might have it. I haven't made a video of it yet. As always, thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe.